Joining BYU Sports Nation right now, former NFL draft pick. No, I'm just kidding. But he should have been Blaine Fowler, who called the game courtside between BYU and Santa Clara yesterday. Blaine, what was the most impressive thing you saw during BYU's 35-point win over the Broncos?
Well, I loved how they played defense on the perimeter to start that game. It was one of those deals where that's what I've been waiting to see. And perhaps it's part of this whole change in mindset where Dave's starting 4 guards so they're better and have more quickness out on the outside. But this was a team in Santa Clara that their number one weapon is their ability to take you off the dribble and penetrate from the guard line to shoot threes. And I thought BYU was really good defensively for the first 10 minutes of that game. And everybody's talking about the fact that for 10 minutes they were shooting 70%. Well, that's because they were playing good defense. They were rebounding, getting steals, and getting it down the other end of the court and getting layups. That's why they shot so well. To me, it was a story of defense for the first 10 minutes, and I was really impressed with that. And that's something I've been waiting to see from this team because, to me, for them to reach their potential this year, they have to be better than they have been defensively. And I saw some.
I think we lost Blaine. We'll get him back. But
I'm really anxious to hear what he was saying there.
Yes. We're also going to ask Blaine about his New Year's Eve celebration in Santa Clara and the celebration after the game as well. Like, what did he and Dave do? Didn't they have a New Year's Day celebration at some point in San Francisco or something?
I think so.
Yeah, we need to ask him what happened there. But BYU, in such a dominating fashion on a holiday, to go on the road and do exactly the opposite of what they did last year certainly has to say something. That has to prove something.
I'm not sure how much it says because, 1, it's a different team, and 2, it's Santa Clara, who's not good. Not good!
But there are a lot of guys on last year's team that are on this year's team. Okay, I know they're different, but when you win on the road, wins are just awesome.
It was a great win, and Blaine now joins us again. Blaine, I thought it was good for BYU to just blow Santa Clara out so Tyler could rest his ankle, so they could get some depth in there, so they could just feel good winning on the road, which is something they didn't do last year to start conference play.
Yeah, and I don't know how much did you guys hear of what I was saying before it dropped off the call?
Most of it.
Oh, did you? Okay, yeah. So I was really impressed with their defense, and by them jumping on Santa Clara the way they did, it almost took their own crowd out of it. Because BYU, in terms of percentage of the crowd, that's the most I've ever seen. I bet BYU had 80% of the crowd there.
Wow.
It's crazy. It was bad for Santa Clara. There was a time in the second half when BYU was just blowing them off the floor, and there was a timeout, and the whole arena erupted in BYU. And I looked over at the Santa Clara bench and I thought, I felt bad for the Santa Clara players. Seriously? It was almost like BYU said, hey, you know what, can we lease your building for a road game and come in there? And BYUtv was there with all the banners, and the BYU radio was there, and all the BYU fans were there. It was a home game in Santa Clara's building. And honestly, I felt bad for Santa Clara. And BYU was so good at the beginning of that game that they quieted their own crowd down. I think even surprised their own folks where they're just like, wow, is it supposed to be this easy? But the way they played defense to start that game spurred them offensively. And you know what? That's the secret recipe for this team. When they get after it defensively, they play better on offense, whether it's in the half court or in the transition game. Their defense feeds their confidence on offense. And I'm excited to see if they can continue to do this with this 4-guard offense because I think it's had a big impact in the last 2 games.
Blaine, how sustainable for BYU and moving forward finding success is the 4-guard lineup for Dave Rose?
I think when they play zone, they can get away with it. Now, obviously it's tough against Gonzaga because they're so big. But look what they did to Portland. Portland puts 3, 6, 11 guys out there, and what BYU chose to do, they said, okay, you think that we're going to go, we have to go big to match up with you. No, that's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to say, you will not match up with us on the offensive end because we will be too quick. We'll play zone on defense, and we'll box out and try to rebound, and you're going to have to adjust to us. And that's what happened. And in the Santa Clara game, same thing. Now, they don't have the bigs that Portland or Gonzaga have, but I think because BYU's guards are big enough, you can take Kyle Collinsworth, the point guard, at 6'6", who rebounds like a 6'9" guy, put him down low in the zone defensively, and it's really not like playing with 4 guards on defense because he's a forward on defense, and then he comes down and plays the point. So with Collinsworth, he's the key to the ability to do that because they're a four-guard offense, but defensively they really have two big guys down there, and Collinsworth rebounds as well as anybody in the country. Look what he did last night. He lost in the fact that Hawes, moved up on the scoring leaderboard. Collinsworth was unbelievable again last night. There was a period there for 5 minutes that I wondered if anybody else in the building was ever going to get a rebound.
15 last night for Kyle. I believe that his career high is 16, which he set against Florida in the double overtime game, Jimmer's last game in Jackson Emory. And you're exactly right. That's the key. And Dave Rose, after the Gonzaga game, said, we ask a lot of Kyle Collinsworth. And we've talked about how amazing it is that he's playing, but he's kind of the key to that four-guard offense. It seems like it'd be Anson, right? I think it's really Kyle Collinsworth.
Well, what happens when you can put Kyle down low at 6'6", and then you have a Worthington in there or a Kafusi in there or somebody in there that can kind of block shots at the rim and also rebound on the other side. Hawes at 6'5" is a big guard. Anson Winder is 6'3", but he's got the vertical jump and the athleticism that he plays more like a 6'5" guy. And then Chase Fisher is 6'3". So even though they're going with a four-guard offense, it's a big four-guard offense. So it's a little different than somebody putting 4 6'1" guys out there. That's why they can get away with it. And I agree with you. I agree with Dave. The key is if you don't have Kyle Collinsworth to rebound on the defensive end, you can't get away with it. But you're going to be able to get away with it because he's just that good.
Blaine, our Twitter question today is, what will BYU basketball's road record be at the end of the year? They're 3-0 right now, still 8 to play away from the Marriott Center. Where do you see the Cougars finishing on the road?
So if they lose to anybody but Gonzaga on the road, I'll actually be surprised.
I agree.
But you know that there's going to be one game when they just shoot miserably and there's an inexplicable loss. That's just basketball, right? And this isn't a lockdown defensive team. BYU, at least they haven't shown me yet that they can go shoot 30% and be good enough to hold a team down and still gut out a win. Now, maybe they'll prove me wrong down the stretch. So I think there's going to be one game, I don't know what game it is, where they just can't shoot it, and they probably lose one other game other than Gonzaga on the road. So I think they're going to have 2 losses. And you know what? That's going to put them right there. Would I be surprised if their only loss on the road is Gonzaga? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But I just know how basketball goes, and every team during the course of a season has a road game where they just shoot miserably, and they would have a chance to lose that game. So let's say safely 2.
Blaine, great stuff. Happy New Year to you. Glad that you enjoyed the West Coast on the New Year, much warmer temperatures, and clearly you survived the celebration.
Yeah, the celebration, I had a game in San Diego. I had Air Force in San Diego State on New Year's Eve, and then I flew up late New Year's Eve, and Dave picked me up. We couldn't find a place to eat at 11 o'clock on New Year's Eve, so we knocked on the window of a gas station that was closed because there was a dude in there. He opened the door in the Chevron station, let us in. We got 2 things, a cup of noodles and a carton of Pringles, and went back to our hotel, and we rang in the new year with a cup of noodles and Pringles. That was our New Year.
You guys party so hard, man. We just wish we could have been there.
No Martin Ellison.
Everybody thinks this whole road traveling thing is really glamorous. Well, there's the truth of it right there. It's not glamorous, but I'm telling you what, you won't find any of us complaining because they actually pay us to go watch unbelievably fun basketball. It's the greatest gig in the world, but not quite as glamorous as people think when you're drinking a cup of noodles and eating Pringles for New Year's Eve, right?
A happy New Year indeed. Blaine, great to talk to you. We'll see you soon.
All right, guys. See you.